we have a shocking Red Sox trade proposal that has the Red Sox landing one of the most underrated pitchers in the MLB. Is he the choice, or is somebody else the option to improve this team in the upcoming offseason? We talked to you all about it here today on Red Sox Digest. Welcome, everybody. I'm Jace Andrews. I appreciate you tuning in to today's show. If you're looking for daily Red Sox content, we got you covered. Go down there, hit that subscribe button, 100% free. You probably clicked on this video and thinking, Jace, what are you talking about? We are in a pennant race right now. Why is a trade proposal something you're going to mention? Well, I think it was time to take a break from the normal Red Sox content just because they're starting to make me a little bit nervous. I'm not even going to lie. They're about a half game up on the Houston Astros for that third wildcard slot. They're a full game back of the New York Yankees for the top wildcard spot. And in terms of the Toronto Blue Jays, well, I don't know if that's even a possibility at this point. They're about 4 games back from that. There's still a chance, and they have 3 games against the Toronto Blue Jays, but at the same time, I think it's time that, we take a little bit of rest back. Plus, it was an intriguing trade proposal that I wanted to visit real quick, just so we can have something today. And we'll talk more tonight, hopefully, about the start from Conley early and hopefully another win against the Athletics. With that being said, let's get into today's trade proposal as it comes from Sporting News. And here is the headline. Should the Red Sox make a blockbuster trade for 2-time All-Star pitcher if they can't land Joe Ryan? This is a big thing for me, and the reason why I think this video was necessary right now. Joe Ryan was the guy for the Red Sox. The Boston Red Sox, if you don't know, nearly landed him at the MLB trade deadline. And a lot of teams, a lot of people around the organization, around the MLB, feel as though that if the Red Sox were able to land Joe Ryan, this would be a very different team. And I understand that injuries occurred after the trade deadline, and our offense has been more of a problem than our pitching staff, and they just can't seem to get anything going without Roman Anthony. But at the same time, you look at this roster, you look at this team, and if you could combine Lucas Giolito, Brayan Bello, Garrett Crochet with a Joe Ryan level pitcher, that'd be awesome. Now, Joe Ryan would cost a pretty penny, and the reason they didn't go out and land him, well, there's a couple of stipulations that the Red Sox weren't willing to meet in terms of the Minnesota's asking price. With that being said, though, there is another pitcher that could be on the trading block that might work out better for them. We get a report here from the Sporting News' TJ Morin saying, quote, Minnesota Twins starting Joe Ryan as the favorite as he was almost acquired at the trade deadline. However, there's always a chance that it may not get done. According to Fansided's Robert Murray, the Sox could take a look at Milwaukee Brewers' Freddy Peralta. And Freddy is, to me, one of the most underrated pitchers in the MLB. If you look at the Milwaukee Brewers, they always seem to find their way into the postseason. They always seem to find their way into this attacking spot, especially in the NL Central, which has the Cubs, and of course the St. Louis Cardinals were good for so long as well. But it's been the Brewers who have kind of always been at the top of that list. And funny enough, the Brewers like to do this thing where they have a pitcher, a good pitcher or a good player who is a year and a half, 2 years from free agency, and they say, you know what we're going to do? We're going to trade him. That's what we're going to do. They did it with Josh Hader and a couple other prospects, and that's exactly what Fansided's Robert Murray said, saying, quote, just look at the Brewers' history of trading players before they get big paydays. Josh Hader, Corbin Burns, and Devin Williams were all shipped away before reaching free agency. Peralta is in a similar situation. He'll be entering his contract year in 2026 with Milwaukee, end quote. The one thing that kind of stands in the way here is the Red Sox' number one priority has already been said to be Joe Ryan this offseason. If you don't know, the Red Sox actually went after Garrett Crochet last MLB trade deadline a year ago, and the asking price was Roman Anthony and Marcelo Meyer, and they ended up getting Garrett Crochet, obviously, for Kyle Teal, Braden Montgomery, and Chase Bydroth. Meanwhile, this season, the asking price for Joe Ryan, we don't know officially what it was too high for Craig Breslow to meet. That could change this offseason with Joe Ryan. It could also change this offseason with Freddy Peralta. And the Brewers are similar to the Houston Astros in which they never like to see their players reach that free agency year, and they don't want to pay them. I mean, Kyle Tucker is an instance. Alex Bregman was an instance with the Astros. They just, for whatever reason, don't want to pay him. The Brewers are kind of in a similar situation. Let's talk about Freddy Peralta for a second because I think he fits perfectly with this organization and with this pitching staff for a couple of different reasons. Here is his baseball savant, read pretty much across the board. Really good at a lot of things. Walk rate is a bit higher than you want, but at the same time, the Red Sox seem to have a lot of pitchers that have somewhat of that problem, but his expected ERA, his expected batting average is all in the upper percentiles. But the real thing to me that would draw him to the Boston Red Sox is his pitch mix. A four-seam fastball that is very, very good and he uses 54% of the time, and a changeup that he uses 21% of the time, with a curve and a slider that he can play off both those pitches. If you don't know, the Red Sox love to kind of move around changeups and move around the way that you are using your pitches. The Red Sox, however, don't like fastballs. They have been notorious for throwing the least amount of fastballs across the MLB. Now, this year it's been different because, well, they have Aroldis Chapman and Garrett Crochet who throw at 100 miles per hour. They're going to let them throw their fastballs. And Freddy Peralta, this fastball's decent. It's not going to be, something crazy up there. But that's exactly why I think he'd be a perfect fit for the Red Sox, because that fastball percentage for them is probably too high. And they probably believe, hey, if we can get him, we can work that changeup and that curve in a little bit more. Say make the change around a 28% and a curve around a 20 to maybe 22%. And that could really improve him already to what he already is. The only experience and problem with that is he already has a pretty decent walk rate, and that could increase it. With that being said, he could definitely be a better price than Joe Ryan. And Joe Ryan, he's great. I would love him first. But I'm not saying that Freddy Peralta is a bad second option at all. I think he'd be a fantastic option. He'll be going into his age 30 season when it comes around next year. Right now, just 29 years old. 30 games this season, a 7.27 win-loss percentage. But the big thing that I look at, 18 home runs allowed and 185 strikeouts comparative to 115 hits. And again, that ERA sitting at 2.69. Like I said, the whip is a little high for what his ERA and every other kind of stat indicator is, with his whip above 1 at 1.088. But that is more towards the walks. He would really be honestly better if he could just locate the pitches. And I know that's the simplest thing to say, and that's kind of the dumbest thing to say, especially from a guy who doesn't play baseball. I'm not a Major League Baseball player, so I can't it's hard to locate these pitches, but Aroldis Chapman really changed his design, and he locates pitches way better with the Boston Red Sox. There are other cases of that as well throughout the past couple of years with Andrew Bailey and the quote-unquote Red Sox, whatever you want to call it, pitching staff, coaching staff, their camp, whatever you want to call it, they like to call it, but it'd be a perfect trade. And the good thing for the Red Sox is they have all the necessities to get it. Fansided's Robert Murray saying, quote, "The Sox have enough cap space to give Peralta a payday, and they have enough prospect depth and resources to make a trade for him. The only problem is the Brewers love Peralta, and he might be one of the few players that gets his money's worth from Milwaukee," end quote. And that's where I open up the conversation to this. The Boston Red Sox this offseason are undoubtedly going to go after a pitcher. At least they should, in theory. You have Brayan Bello, and you have Garrett Crochet guaranteed. Lucas Giolito looking like he'll stay here for another year, and that would be a very good thing as well. Past that, the expectation is a lot of different things. You have Richard Fitz, Hunter Dobbins, have a guy going tonight, Conley Early, Peyton Tolley. You have a lot of different options, and I almost think it's going to scare the Red Sox away from trading for a pitcher, when I think it'd be much more effective if they went and traded for a pitcher. Maybe use some of these prospects. And don't get me wrong, I love Peyton Tolley, I love Conley Early. I don't think those two should be the ones you traded. But Richard Fitz, Hunter Dobbins, Cutter Crawford, other guys that I don't see the Red Sox using in the near future, maybe it's time to move off and you can trade him for Freddy Peralta. And again, contract could be an easy thing given the money you saved and the Rafael Devers contract, Mr. Craig Breslow. But I understand that, to me, the best guy and the best option for the Boston Red Sox is Joe Ryan. I think he fits this team. I think he makes the rotation better. He's the same age, literally almost to the day as Freddy Peralta. ERA a little bit higher, kind of bumped up over the past couple starts. I really chalk that up to the Twins stink, and what's the point in some aspect? Still got a year left on his contract, so it doesn't really matter too much just yet. Whip is better than Peralta's, a little higher ERA. 21 homers, so a couple more than Peralta. 180 strikeouts, a couple more than Peralta. I think he's the best option, Joe Ryan, especially with the way the Red Sox pursued him in this MLB trade deadline. But I don't know. I really don't know. I kind of am curious to see. So with that being said, let me go down in the comment section. Who would you rather the Red Sox trade for this offseason? Freddy Peralta or Joe Ryan? If you want Joe Ryan, type J for Joe. If you want Freddy Peralta, type F for Freddy. The answer to me is obvious. I think it's Joe Ryan. Freddy Peralta has been great. He's underrated. I don't think that the Milwaukee Brewers are more willing to trade him. I know their history, but I think that the Twins would definitely be a lot more communicative in trading for Joe Ryan. That's all we got for you today. Appreciate you watching. Obviously, I know all season is coming up in some ways, and hopefully it's farther away than we think. We'll have some more videos talking about the season, hopefully tonight with the Conley early start. Maybe we can get a post-game out, but a couple other things talking about injury updates and all that. So we appreciate you watching. We appreciate you tuning in. We'll get you more updates on everything related to in-season content here later on out. But for now, we appreciate you. We'll see you next time here on Red Sox Digest. Peace out, guys.